Hi everyone, and good morning from Omaha, Nebraska, where today we're here at the Henry Doorly Zoo. It's supposed to be an absolutely fantastic zoo.
We've been told to go numerous times and we're finally here.
Yes, we're lucky to go to a lot of the zoos in the country, and everyone keeps saying in the comment section, oh, you've got to go to the one in Omaha. So today that day is finally here. I go by the legend, joined by my wonderful girlfriend Molly. It is a blustery April morning, but I'm excited to go and check out the zoo. We're gonna head into the African grasslands. Off in the distance, you can see a pair of okapis. Very neat animal. They're getting the business end. Fun enclosure here for the clip springers, and they're all doing what they do, hanging out on top of rocks. That one down there, that's definitely a smaller one. They're even cuter when they're little. Look at that guy. Just getting his horns. I love this view here. You've got the giraffes, and then you pan to the right, and there's all sorts of animals here on the plains. Different types of gazelle or antelope species. White rhinoceros off in the background. What a view from over here. Digging. There's a meerkat. It's a little cold, so they are inside.
Maybe I'll get a season pass.
Doing some digging.
Not this year, but maybe next year.
Walking away. It does get cold here in Omaha, and they just go into the indoor enclosure for the giraffes. There's a couple of them hanging out inside today. Even though now it's getting pretty nice, it's probably getting to be low 60s somewhere. It's really cool. So to get the giraffes from their indoor enclosure to the outdoor plain section, they've got a big rolling gate, so they'll close this pathway off and then have the giraffes walk from the building out to the plains. That'd be pretty cool to see that happen. We have found the African elephants right up close. There's a smaller one, a much larger one, another smaller one. Look at over there, it's the little baby, about 2 months old. Here's another view of the elephant herd. Very impressive. They must have quite the elephant breeding program here, as there are more small elephants than I think I've seen at any zoo. And of course, the star of the show, the 2-month-old over there. Hard to beat that. I could watch the elephant herd here all day long. There's so many little ones. Oh my goodness.
I know, aren't they adorable?
The elephant enclosure here is very large. It goes on for a while. I'm now at the watering hole with the little guys. Made it along the pathway a little bit more. Got a better view of a very pretty white rhinoceros. There's a lake with some, I believe it's koi fish and then Canadian geese. It's like somebody's probably feeding them. That's why they'll all be over in one location. We are right next to a bongo. I believe this is a bongo, and it is right at the edge of its enclosure, probably like 2-3 feet away. In classic cheetah pose over there is the fastest land animal. Unfortunately pointing away from us. The zoo is home to one of the larger African lion enclosures I've seen, but they are doing what African lions do, taking a cat nap.
Go down to mom.
But it's really neat, they could go all the way up on that big mountain over there. The sable antelopes are towards the back of the zoo, where actually, if you lived in one of these houses, from your second floor, you might be able to see a sable antelope every single day.
That's awesome.
What if that would help your for sale rating on Zillow? Oh,
so.
Well, from your second floor, you can see the sable antelopes.
I would put it on Zillow.
Let's head on into the lead jungle. And we have made it inside. It is a giant rainforest dome in here. The coloring on this one is for the bleeding heart dove. Definitely can see where it got its name. On that island that I showed you when we first came in lives the zoo's Asian small-clawed otters, currently enjoying their mealtime, and there's my favorite species of otter. They are really, really cute.
And playful.
And they have this giant river area they could swim around in.
Look at those little lily pads.
The exhibit here is really spectacular. Waterfalls, bridges, and then this island, you can see a little white-handed gibbon over there with a whole bunch of gibbons on it. Like, this is really, really neat. Oh, look at those little guys climbing around. Now, there is supposed to be an Indian-crested porcupine somewhere on the bottom. I'm yet to see it. But these guys are neat. And look who's making an appearance. The Indian-crested porcupine. Awesome, awesome animal. Their little faces are so cute. They've got everything here at the Henry Dorley Zoo, including the 8th wonder of the world, the moment you've all been waiting for. Ladies and gentlemen, the backside of water. In the cave section, you get some smaller animals like the frilled lizard here.
He's really cool.
And he's not even frilled.
He kind of looks like, yeah, he looks like a dinosaur.
He does. Here's what I was not expecting to see in their free flight rainforest aviary. There are bats. You can see some of the bats flying around as well. Quite a few over here. The bats can fly right up to you if they want to. It's very neat. Like, this guy's probably 2-3 feet away from me. Resting peacefully is an owl, but oh my gosh, they've got so many bats here. Let's see if I can zoom in on it. It's a little dark. Yeah, there's an incredible amount of bats.
Definitely never seen that before.
Lots of them. I was calling these guys bats. They are Indian flying foxes. And get ready for this shot. Oh my goodness. There's got to be at least 100 there. There's a fun-looking duck just hanging out right on this ledge. Another monkey species on this island. Crawling on up. And his cow. This fella here, that is a hinge-back tortoise. Right now we're way up high above the pygmy hippopotamus. A much smaller species than the more famous hippopotamus. Oh, look at that second pygmy hippopotamus. Also, just a word of warning with this exhibit. Watch where you put your hands.
Yeah, I just put my hand in too.
There's another really cool enclosure here for a couple different species of monkeys. As some more of the Francois Langers are coming out. I love the entrance to like their night home is down there, but it looks like that platform could raise up and then it would just look like all rockwork. That's really, really neat. Cool design. I was fine with the flying foxes, but the orb weaver, this giant spider, these are the guys that give me the heebie-jeebies. I believe it's kind of an Amazon aquarium area with turtles and pacus, and then there's supposed to be squirrel monkeys over here, but I think they're asleep. We are now on the lower level of the rainforest, and it's interesting because it's actually dirt down here. There's an underwater view of that pygmy hippopotamus. They are neat looking creatures. Coming up for air.
He's a small one, huh?
The rainforest area is a free flight bird aviary as well. So you see guys flying around. We're in another cave, home to an aquarium with African cichlids in it and other fish. You do get a different view of the zoo's colony of flying foxes. Off in the distance is a Philippine crocodile. I did have to come back to the rainforest area later because the first time through we did not see the Malayan tapir. This time the tapir is out and looking chill. The Asian Highlands is the next exhibit area. Oh, there's the red panda. Paired up with the red panda is a Reeves muntjac, which are really cool little guys. I can see them being friends. That checks out.
It's a red panda.
Looks like it's lunchtime for the white-naped crane. This crane just got up, and I'm curious if this is a rock or an egg, so I'm going to use the super zoom. I believe that's an egg. The Asian Highlands section of the zoo is very, very pleasant. It feels more modern than the African section. Here comes the sloth bear. A very neat looking bear, very fluffy looking bear. Sloth bear's coming a little closer this time. Put on a little show. We have made it to the tiger enclosure. Haven't found the animal yet, but man, what a beautiful, beautiful enclosure they've got for it. The zoo is home to more tigers, and it's taking a nap.
What do tigers dream of?
This one took us a minute to find, but the snow leopard is also sleeping.
Blends in with the rock quite a bit.
These guys are the Talkins, and they have a bunch of them. Really neat.
Oh, maybe 5.
I know I've said it a lot, but this the Asian section of the zoo, it feels very, very modern, and all the enclosures are very pretty. Truly world-class section of a zoo here. Hanging out in the mud over there is an Indian rhinoceros. It is paired up with a couple of deers who are also enjoying the mud. Not sure I've seen this species of deer before, the Pear David's deer, but they have webbing in between their toes so they get to swim better. I am excited for this next one. Look at the size of the desert dome.
It looks like the Epcot ball.
Or biodome.
Epcot ball.
We have made it inside the desert dome, and yeah, it definitely lives up to the name. This little bird is the white-headed buffalo weaver.
He's making noises.
And his enclosure is built into this big rock here. I really like this section of the zoo. You've got a clip springer hanging out on the rocks. And then you're right above some turtles. And then here in this enclosure is a rock hyrax. Rock hyrax are so cool. It is quite the spectacular space. And over here you can see some little dwarf mongooses. There's an area here for some desert ducks.
Having a swim.
We are now in a cave section. There's a lot of people in here, so I'm not going to get a lot of these animals. But there is a really cool monitor. Here comes a parenti doing the tongue thing. That guy we just saw was a very little one. The full-grown parenti is probably 3 or 4 feet long. There is a neat aviary. That's a tawny frogmouth on the right. I believe that's a roadrunner in the center. And then you get some masked lapwings as well. More fun here. Up close, you'll have some sleepy pecaries. which are like a fuzzy type of pig. And then roaming around up top is an ocelot. Ocelots are beautiful, beautiful animals. This little guy here is my personal favorite species of owl. That is the burrowing owl. There's supposed to be a bobcat in here, but I can't seem to find it. And then you can either head through this canyon or into more desert. Got a couple different species of desert lizard in here. Oh, that guy zooming around. And then this fella posing for us. The rattlesnake enclosure looks straight out of a theme park. That's pretty cool over there. There's a bunch of little tiny turtles. The Santa Catalina Island rattlesnake is in an awesome pose. This fella is a beaded lizard. Looks like after the desert dome, we head downstairs to the kingdoms of the night. With this area of the zoo being home to nocturnal areas, it's not going to be the best for my camera, but these tubes here are filled with naked mole rats. Really not going to be able to film much down here because it is very, very dark, but they have a spring house and it's awesome. There's a second enclosure for the spring house, and this one's much more lit up, so you could see them. And what a cool animal. Also the trainer. There's another species of animal crawling down for some food. We have found the bat cave. They have hundreds and hundreds of bats.
This is how I'm used to seeing bats.
Going around there is an armadillo. It's a great exhibit. It just doesn't work well with my camera. There was also an aardvark in here. There's a prehensile tail porcupine. Lots of great stuff, so don't miss this. This is a real treat. Not going to show up great on camera, but walking around is a short-beaked echidna. Normally you see these guys sleeping in zoos.
And usually buried under.
Yeah. There's also Tamar wallabies in here. It's a really neat enclosure. There's an enclosure for vampire bats. And then I guess we're in the middle of the desert dome because you look up and this cave probably goes up a good 80 to 90 feet. And there's more bats. Right now we're in an American swamp area, so you can see the big old alligators. And again, it's very dark, but it's a very large area. Lots of different animals. A look here into the beaver dam. It's kind of interesting. The swamp area is very, very dark, even though these are not nocturnal creatures, like the beavers or the alligators. Up next, the Gorilla Valley. Gorilla Valley starts with exactly what you think, a black and white colobus monkey. The enclosure is not just for the colobus monkeys. There are gorillas, of course, in here as well. Another gorilla up here daydreaming. Not the easiest to see with the glare, but there is a gorilla out in the yard. Nice enclosure here for these guys. Made it to the big gorilla yard. Home to some big gorillas. Oh, there's one playing in the tunnel. That's fun. And there's one having a snack. Currently in one of these bubble alcove areas, looking right at a gorilla. So I'm in a different bubble alcove now, but this one's pretty impressive. Because sleeping right on top is a gorilla.
are a wonderful
Seems like there's a
brown
talk
color,
going on at
and
Sea
our
Lion
harbor
Shores.
seals are a grayish color. Well, a fun fact about the way that they move is that on land, seals and sea lions move very differently. Sea lions have the ability to flip their back fins around, almost like a pair of feet that they can then use to almost walk on land, which makes them move a lot faster, whereas seals kind of just blubber around like a little ball worm. And we call this motion of theirs clumsy.
The enclosure is home to harbor seals and California sea lions. Really nice underwater viewing and above ground viewing. Not too many are going to be over here as we're on the opposite side of where they're doing the training presentation. We're currently inside the insect and butterfly pavilion. These butterflies fly all around. One half of the enclosure is all butterflies. The other half is dedicated to insects. And here you can see the Mexican red-kneed tarantula. Up next, we're gonna head into the aquarium section. And I feel like based on this signage, it might be for me.
I love the look of the building.
Yeah, very modern. Very, very modern looking. When you enter the aquarium, there is a touch pool area. This enclosure is kind of mesmerizing, home to the barred flagtail. There's a fun enclosure here for puffins and other seabirds. Puffins are really cool. The one's up on the hill there. Look at him posing so nicely.
So pretty, too.
Here we go, now we're talking. These are the zoo's Antarctic penguins. A very nice enclosure, cool viewing where you can see them above the water or swimming down below. I can watch the penguins all day. Also, they're behind glass, so you don't get either cold or sometimes notorious penguin smell. And you can see the keepers in there living the dream. Love how you get up close to the penguins, watching them swim around and swim by, back and forth, and all the different types they have here. This enclosure here is for all predatory fish, including a really neat looking eel. Well, there's no children in this bubble that takes you into the penguin enclosure kind of thing, like into the glass, so you get a really trippy view of the penguins. That guy's molting. Wow, look at all the penguins!
They're so fast.
It's a little dark over here, but that is a giant Japanese spider crab. These guys can grow like 5 to 6 feet long. Here's a bit better view of one of the Japanese giant spider crabs. This enclosure is really neat. It's supposed to be an Indonesian coral reef. Made it to the shark reef with the big tunnel. And a sea turtle. There's a lot of animals in here. I believe these are upside down jellyfish. They have a couple of enclosures for sea nettles. And they're really well lit too, so it's very mesmerizing. You do get a second non-tunnel view into the massive shark reef enclosure. And it's neat too because you'll see animals from different sides that you wouldn't see in the other sides. Like, got some small species of shark swimming towards me. One of my favorite creatures to see in any aquarium is this fellow right here. That is a giant Pacific octopus. Normally you find them balled up in a corner like this one is here. There's a really nice enclosure for rays. Like a couple different species of rays swimming on by. There's some smaller sharks in here as well. This is another enclosure that is very well lit. The final enclosure is for fish native to the Amazon River. Let's see, I believe that's an arowana right there. And there's a big old catfish type guy over here. We have just entered the Expedition Madagascar building, which means I believe it's time for some lemurs.
They're in the corner.
Oh, look at them. Very pretty bird here, the northern crested, I think it's coo or kua.
Oh no, it's from Madagascar.
Look there.
There's another lemur hopping around. And they've got some friends with some tortoises. A very nice enclosure here for the reptiles of Madagascar. My personal favorite being down in the corner, you get the plated lizard. Next up is the snakes of Madagascar.
Snakes doing snake stuff.
Pair of ring-tailed lemurs. I think probably the most popular of the lemur species. In the front of the zoo, you will find the giant screen theater. Now, Molly and I got into the zoo. We used a reciprocal discount to get half off because we're members at Zoo Tampa. If you're just buying a normal ticket, you get the option of adding on a movie for a couple of dollars. And this is a big zoo. You could be here all day, and having that nice break in the middle of the day seeing a movie would probably be a good idea. Always good to see zoos continue to expand and build better enclosures for their animals. And here at the Henry Dorley Zoo, coming soon, is the orangutan forest. It looks really spectacular. Again, as I would expect from this zoo, nothing but top-notch stuff. And yeah, it looks really cool from what I could see being built over there and the pictures. This is not open and wouldn't really appeal to Molly and I.
No.
But the Alaskan Adventure is like this giant splash pad kind of thing during the warmer summer months. And it is tremendous looking. Love the whales and the statues. The Children Adventure Trails area. Looks like a big old playground. Looks like part of that big playground area is also a petting zoo that's not open, but they do have a whole bunch of goats and one really cool looking pig. Look at that guy. Just hanging out, eating stuff, wagging its tail. For a couple of dollars, you can ride the carousel. It's like a pretty shiny new carousel. You can ride a polar bear.
A chicken.
I think the polar bear will get my vote.
Sea dragon.
If you're gonna eat somewhere at the zoo, I would probably recommend this Treetops restaurant, as look at the view you get. It looks out into the rainforest. Near the front of the zoo is the Wild Kingdom Pavilion, home to some smaller animal enclosures, and this big discovery tree. See an aquarium with some archer fish, among others. The Henry Dorley Zoo, it's a big place and something nice. They do offer a tram. Not sure if this is free or costs money, but you need to get it from one side of the zoo to the other, or just see the animals without mobility concerns. It's a good option. Here at Stingray Beach for $5, you can go in and touch stingrays, and I think you can feed them as well if it's the feeding time. Yeah, we're not gonna pay for that. I do just want to point out the Henry Dorley Zoo. It's a big zoo, and you're gonna walk around. You're gonna get your steps in that day, and like we are nowhere near the Desert Dome, which looks like it's probably 80 feet up. So you will have some hills here as well.
It's a lot of hills.
A bit of a bummer. It looks like there's a very large bird aviary, but unfortunately it is closed to protect the birds from the risk of avian flu. Can't blame them on that. It's definitely the right call. Got a nautical themed playground for the kids. Molly, we're lucky we get to go to a lot of zoos. This is the first one I've seen with a garden of tanuki with all these different painted tanukis.
It's very interesting. Very different.
It is too cold for the lemurs, but it looks like they have an awesome lemur enclosure. It kind of looks like the lemurs, if they wanted to, they could walk up on the pathway. Oh, this would be a blast. One thing I really appreciate here at the Henry Doorly Zoo, they have a lot of water bottle refillers throughout the zoo. Many of them are attached to like water fountains by the bathrooms, but it does help. We bought 1 bottle of water and then I've been refilling it as we go.
Yeah, if I knew, I probably would have brought my refillable one.
Yeah, so if you have a refillable bottle, definitely bring it with you. Coming in the off season, you do get some things that are not open, like the train. There's a train that takes you around the zoo, takes you past some of the animals, and has 2 different stops. We are visiting the zoo during early April, so it's not like peak season. So one of the things that's not operating yet is the big sky ride. For a couple of bucks, you get it looks like it takes you across the entire zoo and right over some of the animal enclosures. So you probably get some awesome views from up there. Winters in Omaha could be tough, but I do think the zoo does a very good job when there is an animal that is not outside during the colder months. They do have stickers on there that says, "Hey, we'll see you next spring." Now we are visiting the zoo in early April, so not quite everything is going to be open. Some more of these warm weather or summertime activities are not operating. And that'll do it for our time at the Henry Doorly Zoo in Omaha. It was the whole reason we booked this trip to go out to Nebraska, and it lived up to the hype. This place was really, really fun. I could have stayed and watched that elephant herd all day long. Seeing all those small elephants, that was absolutely wonderful. My favorite exhibits were definitely the big, giant indoor stuff towards the front of the zoo with the lead jungle and the desert dome. That was awesome with that whole nocturnal world underneath. Now the big question, do I think the Henry Doorly Zoo is the best zoo in the country? I definitely think it's in the top 3, top 4. I don't think it's the best one out there. I would definitely give that to the San Diego Zoo. I think it's in the mix in that 2 to 4 range with places like Memphis and Columbus, but a great zoo nonetheless, one I can't wait to get back to. If you got any questions about the Henry Doorly Zoo, let me know in the comment section below, and thank you very much for watching.